It's Thursday morning, and it's time for Tech for Seniors Live, where technology gets its deserved deep dive. This isn't happening via Zoom, so we can't see who's joining the show. So please sign in to the chat box below as we gather around the screen, both far and wide, with curiosity as our ever-trusty guide. We'll navigate the digital seas, a knowledgeable crew, exploring all the tech tips, both old and new. No need for cameras, no need for dress. Just bring your questions and we'll address. From gadgets to apps and all the tech lore, we're here to help, to teach, and much more. So type away in the chat. Don't be shy. Our tech-savvy hosts are here to reply. It's Thursday morning. Let the tech talk flow at the Tech for Seniors Live, the best tech show.
Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. This is Tech for Senior Live. I'm Ron Brown. I'll be your host today, along with three distinguished other members of our little organization. Yes, very distinguished, which I'll be introducing in just a minute. It is July 11th, and can you believe it? On my deck last night, it was 91 degrees. The hot weather has now arrived on the West Coast. So I know we have a lot of people from Seattle and around in that area. So let me know, did you get the heat down there? Put something in the comments. We'll be talking about that in a minute, but put something in there. Man, was it hot yesterday. So anyway, hopefully technology is air conditioners. We're supposed to talk about technology on this show, right? So we're not talking about air conditioners today. We're going to talk about the tech news of the week. And that is, of course, all about the new Samsung Unpacked event yesterday. We'll be talking all the new products Samsung announced today or yesterday in Paris. Ray wanted us to, he says, how come we can't go to Paris for these shows? If we're going to review them, Ray thinks we should fly to Paris. He says, what the heck? Why not? And we could get the scoop on this stuff. So we'll put it in the budget next week for next year for our Paris trip. Anyway, that should be lots of fun. You're probably wondering, who are these rambling people that just keep talking and talking? Well, of course, we're a group of seniors, and we have a Monday show called Tech for Senior, which we've been doing for 5 years, and we have up to episode 220. So we're pretty happy about that. It, of course, is a Zoom meeting. And if you would like to come, and we'd certainly invite you to come. No, this is not the one. This is our website. And if you want to come to our Monday show and visit us, it's fun because it's a live show. This is not a live show. Well, it's sort of live, but we can't see you. That's the problem. But on Monday, being a Zoom meeting, we can see you, and we have an interactive half hour before the show starts, and then we have about an hour and 20 minutes for the show. But on this show, we can't actually see you, so we need to know, and we don't even know if you're here or not. The only way we know is if you put comments in the chat. So if you'd like to put something in the chat, let us know where you are, what the weather's like, any technology comments, did you buy a new Samsung phone? All those would be great. Put them in the chat, and we'll go over them when we review our the chat's information. Today, of course, we're going to talk a lot about the new Samsung event, which we'll be talking about. We also have a newsletter, and please encourage you to subscribe to that. That, of course, is ad-free, and we don't even keep any personal information. And you can sign up on www.techforsenior.com, and we'll be happy to send you the information. And it tells a lot about all the things that we do throughout the week. So we will now we're going to move over, and I'm going to introduce everybody. We'll just take this off. Now, you probably know the group, so we'll be brief on that because we have a lot of information to go through today. Let's talk. Of course, everyone knows my partner, Huey Popluck, from Braden in Florida. He's a great guy, and and so he's. Did you have anything you want to say before we get going on all the different? Not really.
Yeah, Sunday is my Windows Special Interest Group. And I have a newsletter that if you aren't signed up for it, please go to huey.net and sign up for it. And I also have an AI, Let's Talk AI newsletter now, and just drop me a note and I will add you to that list. And Ron, I did add you.
Super. Thank you. And of course, we have the face of Tech for Senior was Mr. Bob Gostisha from Los Lunas, New Mexico. Bob has helped us a lot, was being with us since day one. He does a lot of things from security to producing a lot of videos on technology. He's an expert on AI and an awful nice guy. So we welcome Bob again. Bob, did you get to 91? Did I beat you? Did I beat your temperature? What was your temperature yesterday? Did we?
Oh, you're talking about temperature. My age is almost 84.
That would be cool.
yeah. We're talking about.
Not yet.
What did you get to 91 yesterday?
No, we didn't get that high.
There you go. I beat you.
About 88 was the high from yesterday. Speaking of that, my new expose on is free, truly free. The first item that I'll be covering, and you'll see it when we do the show today, is an app that not only does the weather, but also combines it with travel. And is it free? Watch the video and find out.
Okay. And of course, the man from a hot area, Arizona, but of course is in the mountains in Pine, Arizona to escape the heat, is of course Ray Baxter. He's our music director on our Monday show. He's a techie guy and a member of a president of APCUG and treasurer, and spends a lot of time doing technology work and has a Samsung flip phone. So we are super excited on his thoughts on the new. I wonder if he hasn't told us yet if he's racing out to buy a new phone yet. He does. He's still here and seems to have his money in his back pocket. So we're not sure if he's heading out to buy it, but he's going to tell us that today.
I will. Let me just say that the temperature where I live normally in July is in the mid 80s, and it's been in the mid 90s. So we're about 10 degrees warmer. But I learned something new, that we all know what the heat index is, where they'll tell you, well, it feels like 80 degrees, but with the humidity at the high rate, you're going to feel like it's 85. I learned only the other day that the heat index goes the other direction when you have low humidity. The weather forecast said, yes, today it's going to be 114 in Phoenix, but it's only going to feel like 112 because of the low humidity. So heat indexes work both ways. Did not know that.
There you go. Huey, comments? Anybody out there listening to us?
Yeah, we got a whole bunch.
Oh, really? Steve Powell, 62 in Kirkland. Oh, but what was it yesterday? It must have been hot there yesterday. 62. Liz from Ohio, 76, partly sunny. Dick Vogel, 82 degrees, Sanford, Florida. Mike Saunders, Chesham, UK, 72 degrees. Nice temperature. Welcome, Mike. Jolin Bowler from Low Country of South Carolina, 89 degrees. I still beat you by 2. 89 degrees. And welcome, Jolin. Bernard, Sterling Heights Computer Club, Michigan, 76 degrees. Gene from Lingenfelter from Pennsylvania, 68 degrees and sunny. Steve Parker, I just did a hard drive diagnostic on a Seagate 5 terabyte drive. On June 23rd, its health changed from 65% up to 100%. Something to discuss on Monday. Good one. Thank you, Steve. Yep, we will do that. Remind us that. Excellent. Sally from Kirkland, Washington. Had the heat wave. Yes, it was hot yesterday. Was in the 90s. Expect low 80s for the next 2 weeks, right? Diane, hello from Central Florida. Leesburg, 84 degrees, cloudy. Rain this morning. Did you get rain, Huey?
No, in fact, it's a very low percentage chance today. Or earlier, last night it said it was going to 88% chance of rain today, and now it's down to 40%, something like that.
All right. Was that it for the?
That's it for the
Okay,
comments.
Great.
Yep.
Let's get on with the news articles. Let me just come over here. Of course, what we're going to talk about today was Samsung's Galaxy Unpacked event, which occurred in Paris. Now, just to let everyone know, Microsoft has one of these, Samsung has one of these, Google has one. In fact, we're going to be doing a Google one coming up about their Pixel phones. So these are events in which they showcase off some of their new technology. And of course, this is sort of interesting. There was some really interesting stuff that came out. And we're going to talk, first of all, about 2 of their phones. They announced two phones. Of course, they have their Flip and their Fold. And they announced the new Z Flip 6, which, of course, we'll talk about that in a minute. And they announced then their Z Fold 6. So we have two phones here that are new. We'll talk about what those phones are. And if you look at the Flip and the Fold, as far as the pricing goes, we'll be looking at the Flip. See, you got to remember, a Flip flips over on itself, so it makes it half the size, where a foldable opens up and allows a much bigger area. So we're really talking about a much larger phone. So we're looking at, those are the prices on the two phones. But let's go back now, and I want to ask, this is, of course, the new, so we're not talking about their traditional phones now. These are the two, the Flip and the Fold are the ones that they released. And of course, these come with the new Snapdragon chip in them, which has the NPU. And the big deal with these phones are they are AI enabled. All right, so that's the big deal. Are you going to, now, having said that though, the Flip is only $100 more than the one, I guess the Z5. So it's only $100 more. So if you are going out there and everything being all equal, you're getting the NPU chip and an upgraded Snapdragon chip in there for only $100 more. I mean, if I can say that, I'll let Ray give me a comment on that. So Ray, I'm anxious to say, are you going to run out? Because Ray has the Flip. You have the Flip. Which
5.
one do you?
I have 5.
Oh, you got the 5. Okay. So what do you think? Are you going to spend $100 more and go and get this phone? What's your thoughts?
Well, I gave this a lot of thought, maybe 10, 12 seconds, and decided No, I am going to keep what I have. My philosophy for the longest time that I can remember has been never to buy a brand new product. I buy my computers that are new but have been refurbished. I did get the Flip 5, and that's the current. Up until yesterday, that was the current generation. Only because I switched from Verizon to T-Mobile, and they gave me this fantastic deal. But I had a Flip 3 before that, which I actually still have. I should have put it on eBay a while ago. But I don't ever buy brand new first generation items because my philosophy is the changes are not usually, sometimes, but most of the time, they're not dramatic. And you can get a smoking deal on the just previous generation. Now, I like the new branding for the Flip 6 and the Fold 6, talking about AI features. But I have almost all of those AI features on my Flip 5 from the recent update. I did a presentation on the Monday show about this a few weeks ago. So all those features that they're promoting as AI features, I have them, the language capabilities, etc. The better news, but on the phone, it's a better camera. They've gone from 8 gig of RAM to 12. And there is a slightly larger battery. But to me, if you're indoors where you have electricity or you're in your car most of the time, battery isn't important. It's only if you're out on the road for 8 hours a day that really becomes an issue. So I think it's a very good phone. I like my favorite commentary from the tech people on YouTube is a guy named Marquise Brownlee, and he did a really nice 12-minute review on all of the different items, including the buds and the ring, etc. So that would be worth watching. But I'm going to stick with my Flip 5.
All right. And I think you covered it all. Do you guys, anyone else have any comments that you want to make?
Yeah, I have an Ultra 20
on so that we don't, so if you repeat, do you have any new stuff that Huey?
No.
Go ahead. Let's because I want to move on. Otherwise, we're not going to get all our the stuff in. Let's have a look here.
Now this was Marquise Brownlee.
yeah. Now this was cool. Did you see this? Where you can. This is one of the new AI features. If you draw on it, like if you put a picture in, Ray, and you draw, like you have this picture and you draw an image like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will generate an image for you. And I thought that was sort of cool. I could see using that.
Yeah, guess how much time I would spend on that.
All right. Okay. So I wanted to move on, and we'll get to the watch in just a second. Does anyone, Huey, do you have anything about the Fold? Do you have any thoughts on the Fold phone? Because we talked about the Flip, but the Fold, of course, opens it up, and really, I guess I guess a Fold is like a mini tablet, and I could see that if you're probably a student, maybe at a university, and you're taking it, and maybe you want your phone to be a tablet or something, because it's opening it up, and then you have a much bigger screen. But of course, you're paying twice as much. So that's just not in my vocabulary. I mean, I don't use a phone for that type of stuff. But if you're out there listening, maybe you've got some comments or thoughts on that. Any thoughts?
My grandkids would go bonkers over this. I personally would say, my God, this still isn't anywhere near big enough. And for $1,900, I could get a heck of a computer that will be big enough.
That's true.
I think that in addition to students, like you suggested, Ron, the business world. If I was out traveling and meeting with clients, and instead of taking a laptop, I could take this and just use it for the quick notations I want to make, and then do my full report later on. That would be ideal.
Okay. The Watch 7 is out now, and it is going to be $299. Now we can talk about the watch. Really, there's some minor tweaking with it, and I don't think there's anything spectacular about it. Well, except for the next one we'll talk about in just a minute. But the important thing I want to make everyone clear about, that it's so important, is that a lot of times people buy watches for the health app. They want to measure their heart rate. They want to measure the health app. surrounding that. And you have to remember that on the Samsung line, you need the Samsung Health app to be able to run this from the watch. So you have to have a Samsung phone. So if you are considering, don't buy a Samsung watch for the health stuff if you don't have a Samsung phone. You must have that. And not all Samsung phones will work. Now, we had that already on our Monday show where someone bought a Samsung phone, was unhappy because they didn't have bought a Samsung watch and they didn't have a Samsung phone. It didn't work. So please, if you want your blood pressure done, which it does, if you want your heart rate and the heart, all the things that you want that to do, you must have a Samsung phone. All right. Now let's come up to, this is the Galaxy Ultra watch. This is the new one. This is quite amazing on its durability. I'm not going to go over all the features in it, but it's comparing this to the Apple Watch. It's $650 and it's about $200 cheaper. So the articles and reviewing of this watch is, if you have a specific requirement, this is a high-end watch that does a lot of, it's very rugged and can be used for a lot of sports activities that you might have, marathon, all that sort of stuff. So it is competing in that higher end. So they have two.
Diabetes monitoring included?
Pardon me?
Diabetes monitoring included?
No,
Oh.
we're coming to that. No, it's not. No, it's not. So not happening.
No, I already saw this morning, Ron, it was on Samsung, I think. If you turn in an older Samsung watch, you can get a nice discount towards this new one.
Yeah, lots of advantages. And I honestly, like the 290, like I think this is not this one here for $299. I think it'll be a great, and it's going to be probably, I bet, competitively priced lower than the Pixel watch, which will be coming out soon as well. So we'll see what happens with that. But anyway, just two new watches for you. Now, then I want to move on quickly because we're running out of time. Is earbuds. Of course, this is the big announcement. And I'm going to let, there's two. There's the Buds 3 and the Buds Pro. These are the prices of them. But they're now got these little handles on the end. Do you guys, is it easier to put that in, because Apple has that? Is it easier to put them in your ears because of the handles? Like, what's with the handles? Is there an aerial on the handles? Like, yeah, I know I have, but yours don't have handles, do they?
That's on the Pixel. Well, it's got the little nubs on it.
No, but these have long handles.
Oh yeah, no.
Those are, so it's a new design.
But I never used these either. I got them. It was part of when I bought the phone.
Yeah.
Never used it.
Yeah. All right. Anyway, so I'll let everybody review that. But the big one, of course, so we've done we did the ear, and they do a lot of cool stuff, and they have, which I'm not going to go into because we're running out of time. I really wanted to focus
about the ring. How about the ring?
The ring is the big one that and there is one reason why you should not buy this ring. All right. There are many reasons why you should, but I'm going to have a video out about this. I thought this is a great video to make, and I'm going to have that out soon. But here is the ring that you will see. This is the ring. It has to be fitted. There are multiple sizes, and you download and you can order a fitting kit that will fit your ring. Then you have, this is what the ring looks like. Now, if you look carefully on the ring, you'll see that it's convex in the center. So it's sort of like a tire, what do you call it? A tire rim. You see where it's not, and they did that to prevent scratching. So it's sort of a cool idea. You can appreciate that with the convex, if you're sitting in your rings on the counter, of course, it's not going to, the whole ring won't be touching. So I thought that was sort of interesting. These are the lasers. There's 3 lasers. There's different colored lasers in here, and it does health monitoring, which we'll talk about in a minute. And it's going to be $399. which I think is about $100 more than the Aura, A-U-R-A ring, which of course has been out for some time, but there is no subscription fee. All right, with the Aura ring, A-U-A-R. So after 1 year, the price is the same. Now, it's cool. It does a lot of monitoring features, but here's the deal. The reason that I always promote the use of these devices is because of the irregular heart rate notification, the ability to monitor your heart rate and to detect if you have atrial fibrillation or don't have atrial fibrillation. And all the other watches we've talked about do this very well, okay? And including the Samsung watch. The Samsung watch does your blood pressure, it measures your heart rate, all that good stuff. The Ring does not have a regular heart rate notification. It does not have that feature. So if you're over the age of 60, and one of the primary reasons for wearing a smart device is irregular heart rate notification, it's the killer app. It's the app that you must have. I think over the age of 60, everyone should be wearing this to try and catch this. But the Ring doesn't. The Ring does not have a regular heart rate notification.
Plans to
All right.
add it, or it's just not available?
Well, Bob, that's a good point. I think the reason it doesn't have it is because they haven't done any studies on the Ring. They would have to do a whole set of studies on the Ring and publish those studies, and then have them submitted to the FDA to get approved. It's quite a lengthy procedure, right? 2 or 3 years to get the study going and design it and get all these people enrolled to make sure it works, right?
Yeah. Which means it won't happen for this model. It'll be available next year.
Well, maybe. Now, I suspect you could turn it on. I suspect in the background, there's probably no reason why you couldn't. But they're not going to do that because it's not FDA approved, right? Yep. It hasn't been done. And I think that's the reason. All right, let's move on. Huey, any more comments?
Just a couple.
Bob Baxter from Washington, 68 degrees. Steve Parker, will these phones ever monitor glucose level? I don't know. We've talked about that a lot, so I'm not going to go into it, but the answer to the question is no, none of them do that yet, and this does not. Is that all your question?
We were so close to it being there, and now
know.
it seems to be further and further away. So
yeah. Any further? That's it?
That's it.
Yep.
Okay. All right. So let's get on with the news articles. Let's see. Let's see here. And I'll just refresh.
Are you going to refresh?
Yeah, I'm just doing that. And Bob
is free, truly free. The first in the series is on Morecast, which is a weather and travel app, very popular. Watch the video to find out whether this is something you ought to be using or maybe you ought to stay away from it.
So, Bob, didn't our mothers always say there's nothing in this world that's free? Isn't there something?
That's exactly correct. When you get something for free, you're giving something up. You're selling a part of either yourself, your information. So, and this series digs into that. This is the first in that series. And I'll cover more than just apps and more than just a travel or a weather app. We get into free security programs, all kinds of stuff will be covered in this.
Excellent. So this is just to let you know that we talked about this last week. I did a video about it. Google using your Google Wallet for debit cards to add a level of protection. I just want to let everybody know that Google Wallet on the web now has expanded to 13 more countries, so that you can use Google Wallet for online purchases, and that has happened. Ray, I'll pop over to Huey on this one. Is that Ray's?
I think it is.
That's your article. Go ahead, Ray.
I thought this would be nice following the Google Unpacked. Is that?
Yeah, I saw this.
Yeah. A workers' union at Samsung Electronics in South Korea initially started with a 3-day strike, and now they're going to expand it to a indefinite term to force management to negotiate. Now, this union has 30,000 members, and they did have a previous 1-day walkout in June. From Samsung's point of view, they say they're going to have good faith negotiations, but that the walkout will have no disruptions in their production lines. But I thought that was interesting to kind of put this one next to the big event.
Well, they're certainly putting out a lot of chips now with all the new AI and everything, so it's a busy time for them. Ray, did we talk about this last week? Good news for Android Auto users, update 12.4 is already for download. Did we talk about this last week? Because you did a video about this. I don't think we do anything. If we're Android Auto users, doesn't this happen automatically?
Updates should come automatically, yes.
Right.
Now I've already. I think I do that in my music presentation. Talk about Android Auto, and now the new thing is Android Automotive, which is where they're building them into the cars at the factory. So you don't even need to have the phone in your car. For me personally, I've used it for a while, and except for Waze and getting current traffic conditions, I prefer the built-in system that is called Ford's Sync 3.4 that came with my car. That has all the features I need, and I don't need to be. For me, I have to. My car is older, so I have to unplug and plug it every time I go in and out of the car, and it's just too much of a pain.
Ray, I have the same problem. I have a 2024 Toyota Prime. Like it's this year's model,
right?
And Android Auto. I mean, sometimes the Bluetooth connects, sometimes it doesn't. I have to plug it in all the time when I get in the car. I have to plug it in.
That's a pain.
I have the same problem.
Yeah. So yeah, I've gone back to using the built-in system, and I'm fortunate that has navigation built in. I can understand if somebody doesn't have navigation built into their car, that using their phone and Android Auto, putting that map on their infotainment screen in the car is a big advantage. Otherwise, maybe not so much. All right. No secret, I was a big fan of the Windows Phone. Even today, talk about my Samsung Flip 5, I have a launcher that makes the phone appear with the larger tiles like the old Windows Phone. But that phone failed, unfortunately, due to a lack of apps. Almost everybody agrees to that. But according to this article, using AI-powered live tiles could work as an app replacement, and they're talking about GPT-4o could make this work. Personally, I don't think it's going to ever come to fruition, but it was nice reading about the potential.
Ron, this is you.
Just to remind everybody, there is a big update coming on the Samsung S24 Ultra. There's a big fix. Apparently, there's some camera problems with it, and this is a big update that is coming, but not till next month. So if you do have an S24 and you are thinking about that or wondering when the update is coming, they've announced it, but it's not till next month, which I guess would be August.
This is Ray again.
All right, this is Toyota and green fuel. So the concept that Toyota has in using green fuels, and this would be considered hydrogen and bioethanol, that run on more efficient engines that then are connected to electric motors without generating any emissions. So I know the big push is for fully electric cars at some point in time. Me personally, I'm not convinced that already challenging our existing electrical grid system, which is having problems just with keeping places air conditioned, that's really not the way to go. So I'm glad to see Toyota looking at other alternatives to reach the ultimate goal of net carbon zero emissions.
Ray, just let everyone know that Toyota does sell about 1,000 hydrogen cars a year in California, and they have an existing hydrogen system where you can fill up, and it's a network within only California, and they only sell hydrogen cars there in California, but they've been doing that now for I think 2 or 3 years, and Toyota does sell hydrogen only cars, but only in California.
With the hurricanes that have been going through Texas and now up through the interior, if somebody has a Tesla or one of the other EV cars and they're on a road that gets flooded and the car gets flooded, what happens? Are the batteries gone? Are they ruined? Anyone know?
I don't
know.
Or hurt?
Don't know.
Or heard anything? Okay.
Yeah, flooding, obviously, with the big floods that we have, and particularly with hurricanes and stuff like that. Don't know. I don't know what the battery situation would be in those situations.
Ron, this is you.
Yes, came back to Bob's. This was an article this morning. Was this this was out of USA Today. So you have to be really careful. Free finance apps, right? Finance apps. Put all your information in there, according to your bank account, all your information into a free finance app, only to find out that someone just takes all your data and runs. So, Bob, we have to be careful with that. Free, there's nothing in the life that is free.
Precisely why I started that series.
That's right. I think we have to be careful with that one.
Ray.
Okay, another example of how mini PCs are really becoming the rage for your home desktop PC. These computers, as this article is going to talk about, explained how powerful they are, but in a form factor that's really hard to believe. They are so tiny. So if you're in the market for a new computer at home, please don't buy a laptop if that laptop will never leave the house. It's just a waste of extra money. Instead, consider a mini PC. Now, the one I purchased more than a year ago as my Plex server is now set up with all the functionality of my main computer, including running 2 monitors and Windows 11.
Yeah, and the last 2 computers I had until the Dell I just bought were NUCs, which were those small computers as well, and I was very happy with them.
My only concern with those minis is the heat buildup, and that's what eventually kills them.
That's probably what happened to mine.
Yep.
This is an article on very interesting. This will be one of a series of articles that we'll be talking about today. This is Google Wallet preps e-passport support in the US, but it's not a replacement. Soon, and they're working on test sites now where you'll be able to put your passport information in your Google Wallet, and this will be able to be used at scanners as you're going through the airport. And it actually is available now in selected sites. You will have to keep your passport in your backpack or wherever you carry it with you at the present time, but it is one of the more diverse uses of Google Wallet. And that is one of the other articles we're talking about today is people's attitude towards Google Wallet and Samsung Wallet, and obviously and Apple's app as just being a payment service. But there are many, many more other features that you can use these for, and passport control is just one of the many, whether it's your driver's license, whether it's online checking in and having your boarding pass. These all can go into your Google Wallet. So I thought I would just bring that up and just let you know that there are other features that you need to look at.
Just as your passport manager has many other features that it can use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's an article I posted. I think I posted it anyway about the Florida and their situation with the licenses being in an app, and I'll talk about it when we get to it.
Yeah. We talked about this before. I just want to remind everybody, please, if you, like Bob and I have Pixel 6s, if you do, when you do download an update, don't hit the factory reset right after you've downloaded it. or you may be bricking, or someone didn't know what bricking your phone was the other day. You're going to screw it up. It's going to be dead weight, a boat anchor. It will not work. So it'll never, you'll be doorstop. You'll be buying a new phone. So be careful of that if you have a Pixel 6. Nest, this is another one that came out. In light of the Europe is really moving towards payment services. EU ends Apple Pay antitrust probe with binding commitment to open up contactless payments. They are really want to move away from into contactless payments, which are of course going to be much safer than our traditional ways of paying. So watch this again. There's more articles coming about this. But if you don't have Apple Pay, Samsung Pay, or Google Pay on your phone, you should. And you should be entering your debit card, credit cards in there and using that as a way of paying. There's a lot of advantage to doing that. Now, this was interesting. Bob, did you see this article? This is interesting. So Google has a very high level of security that you can apply for. This is where Google monitors your Google account and really locks it down. And the only way that you could do this before is if you had a YubiKey. You had to actually have the physical key to put into your computer. And then also you're quite limited on the apps that you can use. They review that, but it does keep your phone or your device, your Google account at a very, very high level of security. And this would be something not that we would want to use. This would be something for sure if you're a politician or someone
I've been using passkeys for quite some time. It's part of what Google offers. And my password manager actually is what automatically pops up, which is Dashlane, and verifies that when Google asks for authentication, my password manager Dashlane intercepts and says, yes, that's me. And boom, off I go.
And you go. But this is a little different. This is their advanced protection program. And this is
for companies and executives
and people with very important VIP people. But the point is that you used to have to use a YubiKey in order to do that. Right. They're now allowing you to do that with a passkey. Okay, so that's a change that occurred in this program.
Just to interject something, to me, all people are important people. There is no such thing as extra specials.
This is another. This was I sent Chris Gould this article this morning. I think this is going to be great for Google Photos. Will soon seamlessly transfer to Apple iCloud, so you'll be able to take your Google Photos account and be able to seamlessly transfer it over through a transfer process right into iCloud. I don't know if it's going to go the other way, but this looks like it's going to go from Google Photos to Apple iCloud, and this will be coming out probably in the next month. So this will be...
Just remember that iCloud has less storage by default offered than Google. Google offers 15 and Apple only offers you 5. So be careful when you transfer. Make sure you got enough room.
Yeah, but a common question we get, because so many people use iPhones, they all say, and they say, how do I get the pictures, all my albums into Google Photos? And, or they go the other way around. So that's coming out. Huey, I can't see this one. There we go.
Microsoft destroys my online life.
Yeah. So we were talking about this earlier today, and I said to you guys, this is very interesting. Now, is Mike Hungerman on? Is Mike listening? Because he's just going to sit back and he's going to sign in. Yeah, he didn't sign because Mike's going to be if he's listening to the replay, he's going to be smiling because Mike uses Proton Mail. We talked about this a little bit last week, and I talked about the problems people are having with Microsoft. And the .com situation, Outlook.com. Remember, Ray, we talked about that last week, and that there's some people that have had their accounts whatever, just gone, boom. And this on Leo Laporte's show, there was a lawyer on who had his own business, and he worked out of his own house, and he wrote in and said, "Hey, they just vaporized my account. It's gone. I can't find it. It's not there. And what do I do?" And so the second one is, this was a case where Microsoft, this fellow phoned Gaza. I think he lives in the United States, and he phoned Gaza and was talking. I don't know the details about it, but the next day his Microsoft account was deleted. Now, what
I caution everybody to listen to the three sides of the story. Okay,
well,
there's his story, Microsoft, and then there's the middle of the road. And
sure.
You need to know in order to judge who's wrong and who's
but
right.
That's not the point. That's not the point, Bob. The point that I'm making is that when you put your all your eggs in one basket, and you can't control that, it to me it's much better. And we've talked about Proton Mail and Fast Mail services that are unlinked from your public account. And I think there's a really, in particularly like the lawyer who was that had that happen, why not have an account that is not related to a public free account, something you are in control of? And of course, there are two. We have Proton Mail, which Mike uses, which is out of Switzerland, and Fast Mail, which Leo Laporte uses all the time, which is out of Australia. These are two products that have been around for 20 years. Their security is excellent. You pay for them. It is a paid service, but you have people on the other end you can talk to, and they're not in that public free area. So anyway, just a thought. That was my comments on that.
But if you go against their restrictions, they'll ban you from them just the same.
Yeah, well, that's not, they are very secure. All right, let's come down. This is Apple Buds. We really talked about that. These little handles on here are sort of interesting. Samsung expanded wearable. Other than the only thing about this article was, what did I want to talk about here? There was something. They talk about wellness and holistic understanding. In other words, when you get up in the morning, your watch now is going to be able to look at a lot of various physical attributes about you, and make predictions on how well you're going to do that day and how much energy you have. So maybe you can adjust your schedule. So there's some new features coming out, and you may want to look at that.
If you die, does it tell you?
Yeah, good point, Huey. Huey, we're moving into our last 15 minutes. Have we got any comments? Anybody said anything nice to us?
Yeah, let's see.
I may have misheard, but isn't the... Yes. Jim has one, right? Yep, Jolin, you're right. Steve Parker, yes, you're correct. It's all right. Yep. But there is a subscription fee. There is a subscription fee. And Jim, one of our contributors on our show on Monday, Jim Gould, has an Aura Ring. He's used it for a number of years now. He quite likes it. Vale Williams, I have a Geocom desktop computer. Love it for cheap Windows 11 and my ham radio digital communication. Geocom, I don't. Desktop computer. Do you guys know that?
I'm not familiar, but I believe it's a mini PC.
Mini PC. Okay. Mike Saunders, does Ron's screen have three columns?
Why does?
Okay. So 2 columns is so much better for people that are watching on their phones. Ron has 3 columns. So do you have I see.
Mine's okay. 2 columns. Yours is
I'll just turn a column off here. We can do that.
Okay.
Does that fix that problem? Sorry, Mike. Thanks.
Well, we're not on your screen. We're on mine.
Okay, but I changed that. Okay, we can. Let's see. Is that 2 columns? Is that better?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. Following along, T-Mobile cuts the price of Ray, I keep telling you, we're gonna be. You don't believe me? We're gonna be into 5G home internet. T-Mobile cuts the price of its 5G home internet. Is offering a $200 MasterCard to new subscribers. Just another.
I have their phones and the phone system, but I cannot get the actual home internet yet because I'm not within line of sight.
Yes. Oh,
You're
go
not
back
alone.
up. Yeah, go back up. You're missing one. I got to talk about this. So
Yes, I've read this.
did you see this?
Yeah.
So
I mentioned it on Monday.
Yeah. So we had someone on our Monday show that says, no, I'm not going to mention who it was, says, no, I still write checks, right? And I thought, well, this is interesting. Target will stop accepting this old school form of payment. No more checks at Target. So checks are out.
Yeah, we talked about it on Monday.
Yeah, Ron, I can tell you that when the APCUG renewals come in each year from all the 100+ computer clubs around the country, even though we offer PayPal and another internet service, the majority of people send us checks.
That's interesting. It's so on my bank now to order 25 checks is $75, right? Plus $75 for 25 checks. And there's a check processing charge, even though I have an account that's all inclusive, not for checks. So there is a check processing charge. And so it's
Change banks.
It's interesting. This was a story that came out this morning. Intuit, you probably always remember Intuit from Quicken, but it isn't part of Quicken. They sold Quicken many years ago, but it's a financial company now, and they just laid off 1,800 workers, but they're hiring 1,800 workers with AI experience. So their net zero is lost, but they're hiring 8. So interesting how the jobs are changing. This is part of the start of the AI movement.
I wonder if I could apply for a job.
Well, you never. We talked about this one, Huey, on strike. We've talked about that one. We've talked what makes Z Flip 6 better than Z. We talked about that.
Well,
does anyone want to comment on that?
It does compare them.
Right. Just so everyone understands, let me just put this on our. If you, I guess we should have mentioned this earlier, but if you want to follow along, I think most people understand that. If you want to follow along on all these articles, or go back and look inside the articles, they're all on our Facebook page. Just go to Facebook and type Tech for Senior in there, and they're all on our Facebook page. Did I post this? Who's this? Is this mine?
Oh, I did. 7 accounts you must always protect with your 2-factor authentication. It talks about which accounts you really should make sure that 2-factor authentication is on, including bank accounts and so on. And this is another article, 8 things you should do after purchasing a new Windows laptop. And just some things that you should like get rid of the bloatware and make sure you do the updates when you first get it and first get it started before you start doing things, and also create a point when you are working on a brand new computer. And this is an article about Proton docks, which we mentioned last week. We talked about it being ghostware, but it actually is a product. But you do have to have a Proton Drive account, which is free.
If you want to know how to access it, watch my video. It shows you exactly how to get there.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's free. And and it's quite secure. Nine tips to get the most out of your Apple Watch. I don't have an Apple Watch, but I thought it was a good article to pass on to those that do. And again, the Samsung Galaxy Z Fold 6 Flip Watch Ultra and more. It's an article that goes into and talks about them and what some of the things about them that are good. And this one was from the Kim Commando show. It took one bad click, and the personal details of 7.6 million people were shared. So it happens at big companies, and you have no control over it, but you certainly want to make sure that you have good passwords and you have two-factor authentication when you can, because the passwords are getting out by somebody doing something wrong. And this is Google Drive for beginners. I thought was a interesting short article. But if you're confused, we did talk about Google Drive. But if you're still confused, you might want to take a look at this. Mastering the Basics. It's about one long page.
Huey, that's an excellent article. One thing I just want to remind everyone, they may not know this. Most people use Gmail. They understand what Gmail is. They've used it for a long time, but they may not also know that they have Google Drive as part of your Google account. Your Gmail is part of your Google account. So they probably don't understand what Google Drive is. So I think that's a good article to mention to everybody. Have a look at that. Maybe you're not using it. You have it, but you're not using it.
Yep, absolutely. And Microsoft and Apple both have decided to give up the board seats they had on OpenAI because of the regulatory scrutiny in Europe. And they just felt that it's best for them not to be on that board. So Microsoft has millions of dollars invested in it, and Apple is trying to make an agreement with them to utilize some of it. And so both of them had observatory members of the board. In other words, they could observe the meetings, but they didn't have voting access. But they both decided it would be best for them not to be on that board.
Primarily because the EU was checking into Microsoft and Apple for possible violations of privacy concerns.
And Bob, this is yours.
Good, I can't see it.
Harvard and Google neuroscience breakthrough, intricacy detailed 1400 terabyte 3D brain map.
They actually mapped the brain of a mouse, but in 3D. So every part of that brain is now mapped, which is of great benefit in healthcare. Mouse today, people tomorrow. That's what the way it works. You start with animals and then you progress to people.
Yeah, there's a lot of shortcuts in my map. Bob, this is yours as well. The bellwether case study on helping the National Guard transform disaster relief.
Yeah, they get actual live information so that they can direct the disaster relief right to the exact spot where they're needed.
And don't forget, the Windows Special Interest Group meeting is this Sunday. If you've been on before, you're signed up, you don't have to sign up again. But if you haven't, take a look at the newsletter, and there's a link where you can sign up to attend. And let's see, Bob, this is yours.
The new video is, well, this is the introduction to the new series of Is free truly free? An introduction to my new eye-opening series. I explore lots of things which offer totally free stuff, but totally free isn't always free.
Okay. We did that one already. Just go to the next one, Huey.
We're getting in time with.
Yep. Tap to pay could get more capable and more complicated. That's very interesting, and we talked a little bit about that earlier. Just go to the next one, the next article, and you'll see here. This is really an interesting article. Do U.S. consumers underestimate the potential of digital wallets? Very interesting article, because most consumers just think about it as a payment service and not the many other features that a digital wallet can do. And I think that's important, that you understand that it can certainly do a lot more than just be a payment service. And keep going down the next one. I can't see the next one. Keep going, Huey. Payment by foreigners using overseas wallets soars as optimized payment service deliver tangible convenience. Yes, so it's definitely internationally payment. These services are big news. And then I wanted to get to the keep going. Don't want to talk about that. That's just an echo. Keep going. Google One web is coming to all Google account holders as of late July. There's going to be dark web monitoring now through Google One. But I wanted to get to the next one. There's an really interesting. No, keep going. Google Watch. Keep going down one more. We talked about that. Keep going down. No, that's not the one I want to talk about. All right, just that's it. Yeah. Yes, this is no, that's not it. Okay, so the article I wanted to talk about, which is somewhere down below, but we're running out of time, is the fact that in China, Microsoft has just deemed all their employees said you cannot use your Android phone. Android phones, if you are a Microsoft employee in China now, you have to cease and desist using your Android phone. And Microsoft has provided iPhones for all their employees that work in China. You only are allowed to wear an iPhone, to use an iPhone. And that was that article's being that information's been all week on the news service, and there's lots of information about that. And so it's sort of interesting, how secure, there's a good reason behind why they did that. But anyway, if you are a Microsoft employee and you do work in China, you must use an iPhone. That was and we are at top of the hour. We got through most of them, but we never get through all of them.
No.
All right. So it is top of the hour. Huey, any final comments before we go?
Yeah. In response to Mike Saunders talking about the 2-column versus the 3-column, and you made the change. He said, thanks.
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. Keep me posted on that. Checks, that's so funny. I spent 26 years in banking, and I've written checks all my life. I love them. I do not now as often, but I still carry a little check for you. Well, it's fine, but when you use up all the checks, you may be very surprised when you go to reorder them. It's not an easy process. I would imagine the clearinghouses for checks would be really difficult now, because they're probably all boarded up. And what do you do with a paper check? I don't know. Well, what they do when you take it into a teller is they scan it in and it goes in digitally, right? They take your check and they run it through the little machine and it goes into a digital format. I think they probably shred the check. I mean, I don't know.
Well, if you use mobile deposits, they tell you hold on to the check for a week and then destroy it.
Yep. Yeah. Like I use mobile deposit for all my checks. I just take a picture of them and boom, they're deposited. If I ever do get a check, occasionally the government sends me checks, right? Occasionally. So they scan it and it is digital, right? Yeah. So But anyway, Target says no, we're not taking any checks
We're
anymore.
working on our second hour.
I know, we got to go. We should. Yeah.
Thank you, Bob.
All right, thanks, Bob. We can talk and talk and talk. Anyway, hopefully, everyone, thank you so much for all coming and listening to us today. We do appreciate it. Don't forget that like and subscribe. We really do appreciate that as well. Thank you, Huey. Thank you, Ray. Thank you, Bob, for great job as well. Thank you for coming. And we will see everybody same time next week. But don't forget, we have our Monday show. Come and visit us on Monday. We have a lot of fun as well there. Anyway, we'll see you next week. Same time, same place. Bye now.
Bye.